Hey there. Hey, did you know that you're more powerful than a bolt of lightning? Today we're going to be talking about thoughts become things. So stay tuned. We'll talk about how that happens and what you can do with it. Hey, hi everybody. J. Scott MacMillan here. So today I'm live here from my favorite Starbucks because wouldn't you know that on the day that you have your live Facebook, your internet goes out in your house. And that's what happened to me today. So luckily, I come here just about every day to this beautiful Starbucks here, and they got some good internet going on today. It might be a little noisy, so bear with me today, but we're gonna do the show outside today. Why not, right? Let's dive in to the science behind thoughts become things. So, did you know that we're really more powerful than a bolt of lightning? So, a bolt of lightning has about 300 million volts in it. So in comparison, a household current is 120 volts. Now, there's enough energy in a bolt of lightning to light a 100-watt light bulb for 3 months straight. I don't know if that helps you give a comparison. But when we think of thought, when we activate a muscle, when our heart beats, when we breathe, pretty much when we do anything at all, what's happening is an electrical signal is started from our brain down through our neural pathways and into our bodies through our nerve paths. So every little cell in our body has about 0.07 volts of potential energy. Now that's not very much, but when you combine that or you add that up and you say 50 trillion cells, so there's 50 trillion cells in our body, times the 0.07, that comes out to 3.5 trillion volts of potential power, which is amazing. And again, I apologize for the noise. It's a little noisy here. It's next to the road, but I think we're going to get her done. We're going to get her done. So 3.5 trillion volts in our body, potential energy. That's 3,500 times more than a bolt of lightning. We have that within us at every moment. So that's going to set the stage. So what if we could harness that energy for healing and for manifesting, bringing into our lives what we wanted? That's not a bad thought, huh? All right, so basic science teaches us that this electricity, this current flows through us, and it's creating an electromagnetic field, right? A lot of times you'll hear, especially in the spiritual world, sometimes people are talking about the field. And in my interpretation, we're talking about a combination of one, the field that you're generating, connecting to the universal field of energy. But when we talk about the field, that's really what we're talking about, our electromagnetic field that we put out. And so it extends about 3 feet from us. Some people say it actually extends almost 8 feet. And some people say that it actually extends infinity because the machine they used only could measure out to 8 feet. I heard that story before. It's kind of funny. So we don't really know, but we know that we are creating this electromagnetic field that's generated around us, right? So when you think of thought, you're going to activate this circuit in your brain, which activates the nerves in your body. And when you think a different thought, you're going to activate a different neural pathway and down to a different circuit path. And so we've all heard of neuroplasticity. And what happens is that when we think a thought over and over and over, we're actually building up that neural pathway and reinforcing it, almost literally building up the density of that neural pathway. And so when we have a traumatic situation in our life, that neural pathway, because of the emotions, because of what happens and the fact that it's so traumatic to us, we usually build up a pretty dense neural pathway to that. And so that anything that resembles that, or sometimes just because our dreams or nightmares or whatever, we are having this this connection of this neural pathway. And so it's instantaneous. The bigger, the thicker, the denser the neural pathway, the more we're going to have that thought. So if you've got negative thoughts or you've got a traumatic thought in your mind, it's really easy for something to trigger you or to think that thought, right? So the key is, and I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but the key is then, if you want to change that, you've got to rewire that neural pathway. And because it's so dense, especially with trauma, sometimes it takes a while, but you can rewire that neural pathway and that pathway of the nerves that affect the whole body. Because a lot of times trauma embedded in our bodies can cause a lot of physical pain too. And you got to rewire starting from the neural pathway down through the nerves of the body. So when we think a different thought, we're actually creating a different neural pathway, right? So if we create a positive thought, we're going to have a different connection. And what happens is if you build up this new neural network, this new path of, say, positive thoughts, when the old neural network doesn't get any activity, it's going to actually prune away and eventually just go away. And that really is the key to helping heal trauma. So we know now that the shape of this electromagnetic field, it kind of depends on what you're thinking and how you're thinking, and you can change it all the time. So really, this field is carrying all of your emotional, your mental, your states outward. And so anybody in your field or around you is going to be impacted by those thoughts because they actually are in your field. So think about that every time that you're walking along and you're around people and what's happening in your thoughts is really affecting them. So we'll get to this in a minute because it's going to be really important. So what can we do with that? Well, when waves forms sync up in the scientific method, physicists call that coherence. Now, when your heartbeat and your brain sync up, especially during meditation or in a time where you're in a real mellow, peaceful state, this is called heart-brain coherence, and it's really powerful. Now, this is the state that you want to be in when you're creating or manifesting into your world, or really anytime. Now, we can't always walk around in this state of meditation and alpha and bliss all the time, but if we really want to create and rewire these neural pathways, this is the state we want to get into. And the easiest way to do that is through meditation, sitting down, calming the brain down, breathing, and getting the heart and the brain into that coherence. And so we know from physics that coherence is this really powerful, entrained or in harmony waves or frequency, right? So when we're in this heightened sense of coherence, between heart, brain, and coherence, we're in this joyful, peaceful, it's just a sense of well-being. These are very high frequencies. Now this frequency now is emitting, so your field is full of these high frequencies. Okay, so remember that we are more powerful than a bolt of lightning. So the frequencies that we're emitting are very powerful. And we talked about how it can affect people. So this is the science behind thoughts become things. And think about the power of that. Think about now the power of the fact that we're more powerful than a bolt of lightning, that we've got trillions of volts of electricity of potential energy, and that can be out in our field. And we can either have low frequencies of negative thinking, woe is me, today's a bad day, I'm sad, I'm angry, or we can have positive frequencies of I'm peaceful, I'm happy, I'm in love, I'm in service to others, joyful. These are just different frequencies. So my question is, which would you rather be in? Well, it seems pretty obvious, right? That we're going to be in the joyful, peaceful energies. Now, I understand we can't be there all the time. We're human. Stuff's going to happen to us, right? So we're going to be up and down in these emotions and frequencies. But the key is to remember this. Remember that when you're down in these low frequencies, not only are you affecting yourself, because you're literally then pulling into your world these low vibration, low frequency events, situations, because like attracts like, right? You're also affecting people around you, because we know our field now, it goes, potentially up to 8, potentially infinity out. And as you walk into a room and you're in those vibes, you're affecting everybody. Now, a friend of mine brought this up when I was mentioning this, and he said, it makes you think about the responsibility we have to attain to our thoughts. Yeah, it does, really, doesn't it? Because we are affecting people with our vibrations. And I thought about that, and I thought, wow, yeah, responsibility. And then I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if you think of this sort of as a virus, then, that we can transmit and affect other people with our thoughts and our emotions and our frequencies? What would it be like if we just reversed that? If we spread like a positivity virus? And it's true. People talk about this all the time on national days of meditation and so on, right? Where there is a heightened sense of positivity just being flowing out there. What if we really had the responsibility, if we all thought about that in our thoughts and maintained positive vibes as much as we can, right? What would that do to the planet? What would that do to the situation? So I didn't even talk about this, but throw this in now. It's that we talk about our immune system. And not only are we affecting other people, but mostly we're affecting us. And we know that when we're in these negative vibrations, our immune systems are compromised. Well, think about it. I mean, we're attracting negativity. We're sitting in this negative vibration. It's just not a good place to be. It's not healthy. These frequencies are not healthy for us. And so we have a responsibility to ourselves and to others to get into these higher vibrations, higher frequencies, into this heart-brain coherence. Now, heart-brain coherence is usually attained by sitting down doing meditation, which I think is so important because that sets you up. And the more you do that every day, the better that muscle gets. The more you not only can meditate, but the more you're into that positive frequency. And the more you create those neural networks in your brain, and the denser they get on the positive side, the more you're able to just operate that way all the time, or in times of stress where you don't let yourself get down too low, because your neural network of positivity, if you will, is dense, it's strong, it's prevalent in your brain. So I just think this is a fascinating topic because I used to think it was such a simple thing. People would say, oh, thoughts become things. Or I remember watching The Secret saying if you just have positive thoughts, you can manifest all this stuff into your life. And people tried it. I tried it. And it's like, it didn't really work. Well, that's because you didn't take it seriously enough. I don't think people knew the science behind it, knew the responsibility behind keeping your mind positive. Now, what do you do if you've got this really serious crap going on in your life? Death in the family, or you've got a foreclosure on your house, you lose your job, you're barely making ends meet. Well, yeah, again, that's the reality of life, right? And I guess I would say at this point that the key is to keep in your mind, or to think about what we just talked about today and what is happening. Now, this is hard to do, but if you're in the muck, if you're down in this stuff that's not good, that's happening in your life, it's right in your face, right? There's a lesson to be learned, so it's good to be in it and not push it away completely. The people that basically have bad things happen to them in their life, but almost refuse to accept it and ignore it, I don't think that's the answer, because that doesn't open yourself up to the real feelings that we all need to be in our real feelings. We can't shut out real feelings because it always comes back to haunt us more. And so you have to acknowledge what's happening, what you're feeling about it. That's really good. But know that you've got to move out of that state as soon as possible. And what's going to happen at first is you're going to move out of that state and then back into it, out of it, because it's in your face. The trauma, the issues are in your face. But to know that, let me move out of this. Let me sit down and meditate, or sit down and try to put some happy music on. Do something that can raise your vibration. And the more you do it, slowly you'll be more in a positive vibration. And what that's going to do is it will start to then call in the good, I say good, positive, whatever adjective, verb you want to use, into your life. Because the lower vibrations, they will just continue to call in that negative part of your life. And when I say call in, I'm talking about literally manifesting. Another part of this, and we'll say this for a different time, is really then how do these positive vibrations and frequencies, how do they really manifest into your life? Now, on a simple level, we just talked about the frequencies and about how the higher frequencies are going to draw in more positive. And it really is simply like versus like. So the higher vibrations are going to call into the things that are good in your life. Because that field then reaches out not only to us here on the planet, but the field is infinite. And so now we're tapping into the quantum universal energy in the world. And that can now manifest anything into your life. Money, cars, houses, relationships, jobs, whatever that is. And it really is about staying in that frequency. And so this is the basic science behind it. So if you get out into the woo and you're too much like, oh, well, how does that really work? This is how it starts. Literally from the frequencies, from the energy that's created in our bodies from our cells. And we can manipulate that. And that's called our field. And later we'll get into then how do we then take this what's happening in our field and then manifest out to the universe? How do we call in the good? So that is what we're going to talk about, or it's what we're talking about today. So that's what I really wanted to cover today. And if you really want some more detailed information about this, it's a step-by-step guide. In my book, Be the Hero of Your Life, I wrote a lot about this. The first part is to how to take your hero's journey, understand your life, and how your life has made you who you are today. And the second half of the book is a lot about manifesting. How then do I create the life of my dreams? And I go into lots of detail about how to do this. And so, cool thing is the Kindle version of my book, Be the Hero of Your Life, is on sale for $1.99 for this week only. So if you haven't picked that up, go out there, go to Amazon and pick up a copy. Just search on Amazon, Be the Hero of Your Life. And the Kindle version's $1.99. Next week, it'll go back up to $7.99. So grab a copy of that. And if you have a copy or you pick one up, if you could please leave me a review on Amazon, I'd really appreciate that. I always say that authors' lifeblood are reviews on Amazon. It's so important. It really helps us out. It gets me to spread the word even wider and farther, which I'd really appreciate. All right. So thanks for watching today. Stay tuned for next week as we go into some more topics about how to manifest the life of your dreams and any other fun stuff we can think of. And hopefully I can get my comments working so we can have a little bit of dialogue, because that'd be a lot of fun. So for now, I'm going to crank on that music and we will see you next week. Bye. Let's see if I can show you there's my view. Well, there's the street. Let's see. I want to get dizzy. There's my Starbucks. Yay. It's a beautiful day out here. I'm glad I got to do the show from out here today. Really cool. All right, you guys, have a super day. I'm going to go out and I got to put my mask on when I go into my Starbucks. When I'm out in the fresh air, I'm not too worried about it. By the way, my daughter makes these masks. It's amazing. I make these masks. Got filters, everything. I don't know, I'm rambling. Sorry. See ya.